alcohol was everything for me. So what I liked about it, everything and nothing. I would have traded breathing for alcohol if it would have been possible. But it's the number one in your life. I had this huge urge to get alcohol. It's just this unspoken power. I don't know what it is, but I needed to get alcohol. Around I turned 18, I started drinking. When it became a problem, hard to point an exact time, but in my 20s, it was already very, very high consumption. I think I had to 24 a day, so that's up to 48 drinks, beers a day, plus a bottle of booze. Quite soon I started seeing signs like, misbehaving or too much this and too much that, and some people didn't like my way of being, and too much partying and too wild and too much, pretty much everything I was doing was like just too much. So those are signs of something going off. But it's hard to say it's because of alcoholism, because I'm just a kid having fun.
I think almost everyone agrees that there are too many problems related to alcohol in Finland. But the opinions on what should be done about it vary a lot.
If you think about how Finland is high on PISA results and high on education and high on happiness, and we have a good welfare state, and at the same time we have a higher rate of alcohol consumption, or we are there in the middle, but we have a lot of binge drinking and a lot of alcohol-related problems.
It's clear that you see a certain way of speaking where the positive sides are brought into the media, and the politicians want to show that we are doing well, and it's very easy to forget the ones who are not doing so well. So you also see it in Finland, that it's them who are not doing so well, we don't talk about them, we don't see them, and us, the majority, is doing well, so that's what we talk about and what we care about.
I drive taxi, that's my main income, and on top of that, I would say that I'm an artist. I do art for a living as well. I opened a home decor and art shop when I was 19. I made more money than many other kids in my age because of my own shop, and I was doing fine. My first drink was maybe when I was 13, my first drink ever. It's like any other kid. Everyone who ever drink, they start drinking. Most of the time they have fun. So did I. But I started having a little bit more like too much drinking and a little bit over the top all the time. And so when I started drinking every day, it was already like way past the alarming line. Like I was purely alcoholic at that point.
My father was an alcoholic who got sober 1 year before I was born and never drank after that. And I think my mother started using alcohol quite old age, like 40s or something like that. She came active politically, and in these circles they used a lot of alcohol at that time when they were making the world better. I think that it affected my childhood in a way that I realized only when I was adult myself. I think that some feelings I have, they have got something to do with my childhood and the alcohol and the using alcohol I did see. There have been times when I decided not to drink at all. People are really amazed. Don't you drink? Why don't you drink? Have you got a problem not drinking? It is, it is more problematic not to drink than to drink in Finland. There is a big social pressure to drink, much more bigger than not to drink. Because if you don't drink, you are a bit odd.
In Finland, it's not embarrassing to be seen drunk on the street. So we have these traits and characters in Finnish alcohol consumption that's sort of consider alcohol consumption like admirable.
I'm a Finnish guy. We are not supposed to speak or dance or kiss. We just, we drink and we do our work and that's it. So there's a certain cultural issue which also makes it a little bit, how can you say, easier and more allowed to use alcohol in certain situations. So you're not supposed to speak about your feelings. But if you drink alcohol a little bit drunk, then it's okay. So you also drink a little bit to get the allowance to talk about your own feelings. But for many, it's so hard to discuss issues that they just drink to forget, in a way.
We feel, but we don't recognize and we don't admit, is shame. So much shame, because we know we are not fine. In some part of us, we know we are not fine. So shame and secrecy. Guilt and shame. Shame over the behavior, guilt of what we are doing. Actually, alcoholics takes whatever diagnostics over alcoholism. So I was diagnosed with bipolarism. I had deep depression, panic attacks. Because when I'm a bipolar, I can show a paper, hey, I'm drunk. I drink because of my bipolarism, like mood swings and drinking. Everything is because I'm bipolar. Not that I have a problem with alcohol, no.
One of the major problems is the stigma, because people are not willing to speak about their alcohol consumption, so they try to hide it. And when they hide it long enough, they get a problem, and they get, for example, they get alcohol dependent. And then it's quite late in the stage.
It's a taboo in a sense that those people who are problematic drinkers are sort of put aside in the marginal and not seen as people who actually need help.
All this talk makes it very hard for the individual to understand that in the end they really they have a disease, a brain disease, when they are alcoholics. And they're so afraid of getting outside of the social circles that they don't want to talk about this. They don't ask their friends and say, hey, I really drink too much, what should I do?
Everyone was getting tired of me because I was distant and always drunk, and therefore, because I was hiding it, I was alone. Because if I don't want anyone to know that I'm drinking, I can't see anyone because I'm drinking every day. When I went to hospital and my family was let known, I had no more ways to hide. So at that point, my family told me that if you want to have us as your family, you need to go to rehab. So it was my family, my blood family, who said that you must do something or you no longer have family. And I did.
We have every fifth Finn who has experienced severe harms because somebody else is drinking.
It can be just quite a small nuisance, like being awake at night because somebody is noisy. But it can also be that you're scared to walk on the streets, or that somebody attacks you either verbally or even physically.
The costs are very high for the society. They're at least around 2 billion euros per year, and they are much higher if you look at all the costs. We have around 560,000 Finns who drink at a risky level. Around 1 million Finns are suffering from the alcohol use of someone who is in their nearest circle, so it really affects the whole society. And I don't think that this has been understood.
Finnish society accepts drinking very much, and when it becomes a problem, they think it's an individual problem, no longer society's problem. People still think it's a choice. It's an individual problem. Yes, having alcohol is a choice. Becoming an alcoholic is not a choice.
I think the main dividing line with respect to what should be done about the problems is that some think that we should only concentrate on the very heavy drinkers who have the problems and leave the rest of the people alone.
You still hear in the year 2018 that we have people who don't believe that addiction is a disease. They think it's only a social problem. It's the fault of the individual. And this, of course, also has a big effect on how we offer them treatment, how we offer them help, how we see it. It's combined with the stigma.
It's not about individual choice, it's about the society, the laws, the support structures around the individual, the social networks, family, even temperament traits and so on. Government has a good track record, so to say, when it comes to alcohol policies. For example, our government has increased the taxation 7 times during the last decade, and that can be clearly seen in the overall consumption levels. And we know that also together with the overall consumption levels, the levels of risky alcohol consumption decrease.
Before the law, we had a period of 10 years with clearly decreasing alcohol consumption. So it seems to be the case that that decrease has now ended. Awoke a lot of different types of interests, and so especially the alcohol industry and also individual people. Anyway, I think, because we look at this from the public health point of view, that it was a move in the wrong direction, and we would have rather seen that these changes would not have taken place.
I don't think that it's really understood that putting money into, for example, early interventions or addiction treatment would actually save money. They quite often see it just as, costs, which are not nice to pay.
I do believe there should be more emphasis put on, for example, getting services for all the people who are suffering from alcohol harms, not only the ones who are abusing alcohol, but also the close others who are living close by.
I don't think that there's a really good enough understanding in the politicians or decision makers how much alcohol and the other drugs are affecting actually our society in many ways and making a lot of costs.
And here I have a reminder that I took after that death lives in a bottle. So it kind of tells the story itself. This is my patient number when I went to rehab. I'm thankful for sobriety, and that's actually a reason that everything is possible. I know I don't have to drink.
I know that alcohol is a gentleman. If I leave alcohol alone, it will leave me alone.